Well, the journey was first to find my niche. This was the key the key point, because I like most of coaches, you start with the idea that you can help the whole world, and then slowly you realize that the whole world is very broad. You don't have all the tools which are necessary.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to 7 and 8 figures without burning out. Before Purple Circle, I started and scaled several 7 and 8 figure career coaching businesses myself and consulted with 2 career coaching businesses that are now doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or just building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Career Coaching Secrets podcast. Today, my guest is Dr. Thierry Delatte, a coach, a trainer for scientists and academics with 20 years of experience as a researcher in international teams. Thierry deeply understands the unique challenges of academic life, especially for expats. Now, through Delatte Coaching, he helps academics master sustainable stress management, navigate their careers with confidence, and develop deeper self-awareness. His approach combines humanistic coaching, which is a non-judgmental presence, and positive and transpersonal psychology to support lasting growth. I'm excited to dive into his insights. Welcome to the show, Thierry.
Thanks a lot for inviting me. This is very exciting to be able to exchange with you guys. And thanks a lot for the invitation on Purple Circle.
Thank you for taking the time. Yeah, so tell me a little bit more about what inspired you to become a coach.
Well, thanks for the question. That's nice. I'm a Caribbean person. We like telling stories. So if you don't mind, let me tell you a story, a short one. A few years ago, I was working in academia, science, having a nice subgroup working on plant volatiles, so the smell of plants. And then my manager, professor, got a big grant and left for another university. We got a new professor, new manager, and it was Thursday morning, 8. She liked to have early morning, and she told me, Thierry, the work you're doing is great. However, you don't fit in my vision. You need to finish the contract that you have, because I had 2 PhD students and a postdoc, and then you need to find another place. And I thought, oh, wow, this is quite a bummer on Thursday morning at 8. This is the Netherlands, so people are quite straight. So you just get it without any butter. And that was, so I left the meeting quite disturbed, because I'd been working on this to create this position and create the environment in which I was working quite happily for quite a few years now. After I've worked in different places, not getting any younger. And then on that day, we had a meeting with other supervisors of PhD students to discuss our, how would you call it, our supervision techniques. So this is basically PR coaching. We'll bring a case and discuss it. And that was my day. So we had lunch. And after that, I was presenting one of my PhD students who had difficulties with writing, a Mexican gentleman. And I could explain the problem, got quite a few feedbacks, interesting tips and tricks from my other colleagues. And we were rounding off the meeting, having a coffee. And one of my colleagues came to me and told me, Thierry, it's amazing. Why is it that you have always those useless PhD students? I thought, oh, this is not the day. I already had a bad day. Don't add to it. This feels very personal. And she told me, Thierry, what I like in PhD students, and I give them an idea, they do some experiments, come back with results, and we see if we can make it into a paper, so a product. But you seem, Thierry, to be involved with them and being there regularly, and I see you in the lab very frequently with your PhD students. It feels that you're spending a lot of time with them. It felt like a personal attack at first, and then afterwards, I thought, well, this is amazing. Actually, she's right. I don't like to have very independent subordinates or co-workers. What I like is see someone, a potential in someone, and then guiding them into flourishing this potential until they become a full scientist, which can be a master's student or a PhD student. However, looking back at the job environment that I had at the time, this value was not recognized. I mean, it was nice to have, don't get me wrong. But at the end of the year, when I had my meeting with my managers, this was not something that I was graded for. That I was not paid for it. And this helped me to shift from being a scientist to realizing that after 20 years of research, it's not getting results or getting money to find exciting new stuff, but it was to help people getting better at being scientists. And I thought, well, this is not the right place to do this. I can do it in a broader public and help more people than just one or two PhD students. And this is how I decided to move into coaching and training, actually.
Thanks for sharing that. I feel it's much more clear to me right now, as I was a little bit confused at the beginning when we first started talking, in terms of the coaching that you do and the people that you serve. Is there a specific group of students, or like maybe a specific field of science that you help them in, like that you coach them on?
Well, at the moment, my largest field of client type of client is coming from the medical centers. So I'm mostly training and coaching medical scientists. So those will be doctors who want to have a PhD in science and move from being clinicians to being researchers and usually to go back into the clinic. And this is a quite specific group of with specific problems.
Tell me a little bit more from the point that you became a coach to where you are at today. How has that journey evolved for you?
Well, the journey was first to find my niche. This was the key the key point because I like most of coaches. You start with the idea that you can help the whole world, and then slowly you realize that the whole world is very broad. You don't have all the tools which are necessary, all the connection necessary for the whole world. And this is, I mean, I'm also a teacher in coaching, so I'm also teaching coaching at the school, and this is something that I try to teach my my students. Look for your niche, and it took me sometimes to get my own wisdom as well, and this came through trying different different type of clients and realizing that for me the most efficient way of coaching was to coach with everything that I am, and that's not for everyone. So the journey started broad and slowly focusing, and I realized that from time to time I get bored with looking and helping the same problems, and I need to divert a little bit and find a new niche, but it's from niche to niche.
Now, while you're working with students that are mostly focused on medical research and medical science, how do you connect with them? What is the main, if there is any marketing channels that you find that works best for you in terms of like you connecting with the audience that you serve mostly?
Well, in that respect, I'm quite atypical. I connect through my coaching clients via trainings. So I give trainings at the medical centers and other universities, and through this, I'm getting my clients. So there are people that will be participating in time management or project management type of trainings and writing, because as a PhD student, I mean, it's a process going through a PhD, but it's also a product. You need to have a book written at the end of it, and not everyone is good at writing. So that's where I get many of my clients, and they have a sometimes more specific for the writings, more specific niche, which is helping people with a learning disability like dyslexia, ADHD, to specifically deal with a problem. So I have a few sub niches in that category.
And is this part of your job as well, that you get to meet them and train them? How do you connect with them before you train them? Are they assigned to you?
Yes, usually they are assigned to me, so I get tasks to train, um, and students join the trainings, or I propose trainings personally, so not via the universities, but through my own organization, and people join then.
So what I was saying is, you also work with the university, which is what gets you to connect with these students that you need to coach primarily or train. And then from there, you also, for anyone who's interested in working with you privately, they can also connect with you on your own coaching business. I see. So it's not basically a government project, is a university project.
Yes, so that's I get tasks to train. Being a freelancer, it makes it more convenient for the universities to get these trainings.
Is this the only way that you get your client, or are you also utilizing any other marketing channel right now?
Well, I've been on a few platforms. There, the success rate was not massive. Most of the clients which are not directly coming from trainings are from word of mouth. So I use some specific tools which are not mainstream in coaching, and some of my ex clients refer me or refer their friends or colleagues that, oh yeah, you have a problem there, you should talk with Thierry about it. And that's, for example, the use of visualization, so more on the hypnotic type of tools. That's a transpersonal aspect. Not all scientists are open to the transpersonal, which I think transpersonal could be translated into spiritual in layman's term. It's a specific type of clients. They don't need to be spiritual. However, that's I find looking for a deeper meaning in order to solve problems in an effective way.
Well, that explains it more clearly right now. Um, is there any goals that you're working towards for the next 1 to 3 years in terms of your coaching business?
Good question. So developing more trainings because I found that one-to-one is very rewarding personally. However, I'm looking into more group coaching or group counseling because my fees are not cheap, and that's some of my clients. I don't have a lot of means, financial means, being PhD students, and this is the next for me. The next step will be to work in a group coaching or group counseling to help specific goals, like the pain of writing. This is the dealing with stress. Also works quite well in group, and that's for me. That's the next step.
And is there any resource or support that you found most valuable in you growing your coaching business, or that's been valuable for you as a freelance coach, let's say that?
Um, well, some of the platforms were quite useful um, to advertise my business. However, the meeting others in different environments and talking about my business, so going to conferences where other scientists are, or meetings for PhD students, and just talking with people about what I can offer and where I can reduce the pain level to reach certain of their goals was the most effective and more rewarding actually, because you're connected directly with the person. However, this is not 24/7. It's quite it's a few times per year that these type of events are present. So it's the having platforms, online platforms, and in-person meetings is quite helpful.
Hmm. Well, thanks for diving into that. Is that basically in terms of you reaching uh, or going to these conferences, like you said, and trying to put more time into growing your, let's say, referral network? eh, That is that is what you would say has been uh, the resource has been most supportive for you in growing your coaching business. That's like you investing time in growing your referral network has been what's been most valuable in your coaching business as well.
I mean, the advantage of the referral is that when a client comes through a friend, he or she is already aware of the technique that you're using, and they already heard a positive story about you. So the creating the rapport goes a lot quicker. So in that respect, it makes it more efficient. Yes.
Okay, cool. Is there something, what is something that you wish you had known when you first started your coaching business? What is one unexpected lesson learned?
Well, the one thing was well, I mentioned already. It's the niche, finding that because it's a fallacy to think that you can help everyone. In some of my techniques work for a specific group of people, and they wouldn't work or they do not work for another group. So this is that would have reduced a lot of my ego injuries to be fully aware of this. And yet, as we said, my place, the experience is a tailor-made cloth. So you have to go through this. It took me a few, I wouldn't call failures, but it's challenges with some of my coaches to realize this is no, I cannot really help this particular problem or this particular person. So this is something that's why I have, for example, a free session, orientation session to start with, so I can already see, okay, this is a problem I can deal with. It's a person I can connect with. If it's not, I'd rather immediately upfront, with no money paid, tell them, okay, I'm sorry, I cannot help you. I know other coaches that could help you, but I'm not your guy. Well, that's one of the main lessons. And I started with a website which was more like a visiting card than a selling place for my product. It's a process, ongoing process to improve this. That would have also made a difference. But I'm not displeased with the way I went.
Well, it's a learning curve, right? So, what are some of the biggest challenges that you faced in scaling your coaching business, or that you're still currently facing today?
Well, one of the biggest was to find an office. I do enjoy working offline, so this was a challenge, a rewarding one. So once I have my office now, for now almost a year, I'm very happy with that. Otherwise, I was renting rooms in various places. The challenge that I'm currently facing, is to increase my or to diversify my client base. And this is, it's not that I'm getting bored of PhD students, but I'm looking for new challenges. And this is what I mentioned before. It's after a few years of working with a group, I think, okay, I know the problems, my tools are well sharpened, so I know when that problem is there, I have a few tools I try, and then within a few sessions, we get to the point. However, it's getting a bit boring, so I'm looking for new challenges. So changing my niche and moving more toward the transpersonal, so the spiritual, and a bit less into the academic. And there, my referral network is mostly academic, so that's where my challenge is now to shift this.
So you're looking to broaden basically the audience that you want to go after. Do you feel like there is also some limitation on the fact that you're doing it offline and that you're limited on the location versus like if you were doing it online, you could reach a bigger audience as well?
I'm doing it also online. I just prefer to doing it offline. And yes, the location is a limitation, and it's close to the train station in Utrecht, which is middle of the Netherlands. So it has some. It's easily reachable. Nevertheless, it's few of my clients need to take the car or the train to reach me, and that does create limitation. And working with expats, sometimes I will see them online, sometimes offline, the same clients, because they go back home or they change. And young scientists tend to move around a lot, and they start their PhD in the Netherlands, have to work somewhere else for a few months, then get a postdoc in another place. So we do meet online as well. However, there's a different chemistry when you meet in person. It's somehow the work goes faster in my experience. And if I have to use some specific tools like hypnosis, it makes it easier in person. However, most of those tools can be worked online as well. But being a bit old-fashioned, as you can see with the color of my hairs, offline is my favorite mean.
That's interesting. When I said limited by location, I mostly meant your audience could be mostly in Netherlands, or are there other countries that scientists come there, or maybe like other scientists that are not in Netherlands at all that you coach?
Yes, it happens not very frequently, but frequently. I'm a French speaker, as you can hear with my accents, so that provides a unique niche. So I'm working with Africans, mostly countries like Moroccans or French-speaking African scientists, which might have worked in Europe or stayed in Africa, and that or are looking forward to make a step back in Europe or in the US, and want to sharpen their game. So this is something which is online most of the time. And having worked in Canada, I have also an experience with the northern American continent and its academic challenges.
Yeah, I agree. What advice would you give to other coaches? Even though in our audience, mostly are going to be career coaches. What advice would you give to other career coaches that you think would be useful for them in scaling their impact?
Well, I found that the trainings, are they paid or free trainings, so short type of trainings, skill trainings, provided me with broadening my audience and also increase my impact. So it's like proposing on Facebook a specific training on a postdoc forum. So okay, guys, I'm paid for this usually, but I'm willing to give a training on this particular skill set because I find it really important for successful scientists, and provide 45 minutes training online with a small audience, like maximum 20 people. This gave me a lot of positive feedback, but as well a lot of clients, because it's well, I find the training quite a pleasant way to connect with my audience. So I'm already providing them with something that they're familiar with, but they're not very good at. And then with a few specific tools, I help them reach the next step. And I'm training as a coach, so I always ask for what's the next step that you're going to make tomorrow? What is the commitment you're making tomorrow? Which is usually not done in trainings, but which is more into the coaching technique of accountability. And this helped me connect with a broader audience. So I'm not so much from the YouTube videos, which would be an alternative for this. I prefer the exchange and having people just telling me, okay, that's where is my pain point. So usually it's in writing. I mean, I'm extremely dyslexic, so I understand the pain point of other with writing difficulties, and this is by exchanging this, you connect in a very strong way. So for me, this is the way that worked into increasing my impact.
Thank you so much, Thierry. It's been a lovely episode. For anyone who wants to find you, they can find you at Thierry Delatte in LinkedIn. There's also your website if they wanted to look at that, delattecoaching.nl. So thank you again, Thierry, and hope you have a great evening ahead.
Well, thanks a lot for the invitation. It was great.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This conversation was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to 7 and 8 figures without burning out. To learn more about Purple Circle, our community, and how we can help you grow your business, visit joinpurplecircle.com.